distance in the light, vibration of the thunder.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction Podcast, episode 25, which is pretty significant, I must say. At least it is to me. I have stuck with this thing, and I'm continuing to stick with it, and that's great. Yeah. So, anyway, I kind of need to clarify something from my last episode. In episode 24, I said that I think our purpose here is to learn how to be creators, to be master manifestors. Then later in episode 24, I said that our purpose is to learn to trust the Creator to do what it is that we cannot do for ourselves. Now, this may have come off as me saying two different things, and it kind of was, but what I really needed to have done was to get more into that. And also, I might add, it is entirely possible that we are, and probably likely, that we are in this construct to learn two different things. And like I said, those two things do still go together. Let me explain. You are the architect of your reality. You're the architect of your life. Through imagination, in a lot of cases, very artistically. Your job as the architect of your life is to design, to be creative, to imagine, use your imagination and visualization, and build this vision for your life. There's three parts that we have to do. Design, which I just touched on. Then we have to vibrate on that level with our emotions, our feelings, empathy, however you want to word it. We have to feel that feeling. We have to get in the vibration of what it is that we would like to experience. And that takes practice. It does. Meaning you have to learn, you really use your imagination. Like if you want to live on the beach, let's say I want to own a beach house, and every morning I sit out on my patio and I listen to the surf crashing in the beach behind me, and I enjoy my coffee and whatever else I do in the mornings. The better you get at visualizing that and putting yourself mentally in that place, feeling the breeze, feeling the sun on your skin, smelling that salty ocean air or the foliage, those flowers or the plants. Like when you're in South Florida, there's a very particular green smell to the air. Anybody who's been there knows what I'm talking about. I couldn't tell you what it is. I just know what it is. I know it when I smell it, and I know it from memory. So if I'm trying to visualize that, I'm going to work that into my visualization. I'm going to feel the sun on my skin. I'm going to smell those smells, hear those sounds, really feel a deep appreciation in my soul for what it is I'm experiencing in that imagination. Now, that is designing. And then getting your soul, your spirit to vibrate on that level so that it's just like tuning into a radio. You want to listen to a particular station on the radio, you tune into that channel. And we know that there are lots of radio stations playing at all times. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different wavelengths flowing through the air at all times. But I can tune into one of them. And if I don't like the music on that one, that's okay. I just tune to a different one. And I realize that's a simplified way of describing how we vibrate on a frequency of the life that we want. But that is a pretty darn good way of putting it, actually. All that is law of attraction. If we do those things, that we will draw the things we want to us. And that's all fine and good. And yes, I'm with them up to that point. But I believe it takes a little bit more than that. You have to begin moving in that direction. You have to put some skin in the game. So you have to act on it. Begin moving in the direction. That's when you must trust the Creator to make it happen. We have to get so engrossed in that vibration, in that visualization of that reality that we want, that we truly feel it. The more you feel it, the more real it becomes to you in your imagination, and the longer you can hold it there, the better you're going to be at it. And the number one thing is to be grateful for it. Because if you did have that reality, you certainly would be grateful, or at least I would certainly hope you would be. So if you were grateful for it then, you need to be grateful for it now. Because anytime you build something into your reality, just because it's not in front of your physical existence in this moment, does not mean it's not in your existence. It's like the earth travels around the elliptical plane around the sun they tell us every 365.24 days is a year. Now, the place in space where the earth will be on, 3 months from today, it exists. That area of space, that region of space, exists right now. The earth has not reached it yet, but it exists. It's there, waiting for the earth to get there. And a lot like that with your desired reality. It's there, and it's waiting for you to arrive. That part is up to you. You need to vibrate on that frequency. You've got to hold it. And throughout your day, and I realize it's like, well, man, I can't hold it there all day. I got to get to work. Well, that's true. But, write things down on an index card. Do alarms on your phone every hour. Bing, bing. Think about your visualization. Put yourself back in that frame of mind. Try to get there as often as you can throughout your day in your mind. And you've got to act on it. You got to do something that will create a means for that to come to you. If it's money that you need, well, whatever it is that you are good at doing that you could turn into some kind of career, I don't know. All I know is begin moving in the direction. See, law of attraction, it kind of stops there. For all intents and purposes, with the law of attraction, we can just sit on our couches and vibrate and visualize all day. I mean, that's cool, I guess, but you got to do your part. Do everything you can do. And then trust the Creator, your higher power, to take care of the rest. Because like I said, I believe we have been placed here to learn how to create. And that's what we're doing. I'm not going to get back into the Colburn Bible and all the things that were said there about how we are creators, we are gods. I recently heard someone being interviewed, and they referred to this existence, this construct that we live in, as God school. I realized Christians are going to lose it over me saying that I'm being blasphemous. There's only one God. I understand. I do. But I also understand that in the Judeo-Christian Bible, it clearly says you are gods. It also, where Jesus said, all these things that I do, you will also do, and more. It doesn't just have to be Judeo-Christian. All throughout, all spiritual philosophies, it talks about how we are creators. We are masters of our destiny. Now, we can get into the conspiracy over why we've been led away from that, why the organized religion controls people with fear and tries to hold people back. And listen, there's no doubt that's happening. None. And as much as I would love to go out and tell the whole world about this, it's just not going to happen. The human collective is on the trajectory that it's on, and that's it. I'm sorry. I know that's not a very positive way of looking at things, but whatever. However, we as individuals, you, dear listener, me, whoever else, we are in control of our individual trajectory. And I know that we are part of the collective, but there are clearly lots and lots of examples of how bad things have befallen people when, you hear about it all the time, like a tornado might ransack one person's house and the next door neighbor barely lose a shingle off their roof. These things happen. I just wanted to kind of clarify that because and I still haven't finished yet, but I just want to get into some clarification on that because I feel like it's so important. Your higher power is not going to just throw you out here and say, okay, you're a creator, go figure it out. We are in this construct, in this reality, in this world. We do have to abide by natural law. Natural law being the laws of physics or whatever. It's kind of like the person that says, well, I don't believe in gravity, and they go and jump off a cliff. Well, you don't have to believe in gravity. It's natural law, and there's nothing, not a damn thing, that any of us can do about that. So we do have to operate within the confines of natural law. Now, someone who is outside of this construct, such as your real self, outside of your avatar, which is inside, such as your higher power, well, they don't have to operate inside natural law because they don't exist inside the construct. That's where we can bend the rules, I guess. That's why we have to get vibrating on that frequency. We have to start moving in the direction. We have to at least put some skin in the game, put some action behind our words, and then trust that our higher power is going to take it from there. God is not going to leave you hanging out to dry. If you do your part up to what you cannot do anymore, guess who's going to take over and see it through? Your higher power will. I mean, we've all heard of all these success stories of people who have overcome unbelievable odds. Most people listening to this, I'm sure, are addicts in recovery. We've overcome some amazing things, haven't we? So anyway, there's that. We have to learn to trust the Creator, our higher power, God, to take over once we've done our part. Whatever that is, that's completely up to you and your higher power. You know when you've done enough. You know when you've done your part, whatever that may be. You see, that's probably the hardest part here, is figuring it out. Well, no, the hardest part is probably learning to trust. To be like, I'm going to do these things and then I'm just going to give it all over. I'm going to let it go. Let it go. Do not worry about your outcomes. Do not worry about the how. The only thing you need to worry about is the what. Maybe the why. But ours is the what. Maybe the why. Not ours is the how. And the when, to a degree. But how all of your dreams come about, that's not really your concern. Now, sure, you need to put some things in motion, but things happen all the time. You hear about things, someone who is starting this type of business and it's going okay, whatever, but it puts them in the path to meet someone who shows them the most golden opportunity that it could have ever happened. They would have never met that person and gained that opportunity had they not been doing something else. So that learning to trust, that's hard, but it's part of it and it's worth it. Totally worth it. So, I've been writing a lot on Substack, and I wrote a piece called Another Day at the Office. And yes, it's about reality and all that good stuff, because that's just what I've been doing a lot of lately, is blabbering on about that. Anyway, in Another Day at the Office, I say this construct that we have found ourselves currently existing in, I think, serves a great purpose. It allows us to grow, to experience things, create things, experiment and learn, all while not affecting the outside world. It has been referred to as a containment field by Jason Brashears, and I think that could be accurate. Think of it as a self-quarantine where we are free to run amok and not risk causing any real harm. These lifetimes could be just another day at the office. We could possibly be living out entire lifetimes during a shift at work. After this life ends, we unplug and go home and come back tomorrow and do it again. I know, but Matt, you're so spiritual. How could you think this? Well, the truth is, I kind of don't. Not exactly, anyway. That was just a what if. But I do not think it's too far from the truth. You see, Arthur C. Clarke said it best when he said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. When we think about technology, our very materialistic third-dimensional thinking minds almost always go straight to gadgets, computers, screens, buttons, and dials. We never really stop to think that technology could be mental or even spiritual. A lot of militaries around the world have tried to utilize psychic abilities along with their technology and weaponry. I think that they have, to a degree, been successful in doing this. Where they most likely fall short is in not taking into consideration the spiritual component, which is probably a good thing for the rest of us. Just saying. I have a hard time expressing exactly what it is that I think all this is. I do think that a containment field would more be a means of protecting us from ourselves, a way that we can go into a very immersive environment that is so lifelike and real in every way. A place we can learn concepts and ideas and explore and experiment with creation. I think we are here to learn how to create, how to manifest. I am in no way a big Bible thumper, but I do know enough to know that I don't know what I don't know, and that I can glean knowledge and wisdom from all of the spiritual works at our disposal. Every spiritual philosophy teaches us that we are creators. We do manifest our lives every single day for better or worse, like it or not. The goal is to learn this truth and how to control it. I believe that once we learn how to consciously manifest, a few things will happen. The obvious one is we will create for ourselves the lives that we want to experience. Why not, right? Another thing is I believe once we learn this, we will then graduate to something else. Something not in this world of violence and suffering. Newsflash, as beautiful as this reality it is filled with violence and suffering. I like to think that once we have learned how to manifest and move on from this construct, then we will begin creating our own worlds. As immortal beings who have been made in the image of the Creator, or more accurately, as extensions of the Creator who are having experiences. It's not enough to think of a concept. To truly know it, we must experience it. Also, something that is eternal, that has no beginning or end, would never stop creating. And its creations would also be creative. Hello, you. Have I lost you, or have I piqued your interest? Or have I bored you to death and you're just humoring me? If you've listened to any of my podcasts or read any of my stuff, this post shouldn't come as a surprise to you. The exception to this is in my memoir about my time in active addiction that I occasionally post excerpts from in my Substack. That too is a means to an end, though. The memoir has more than one purpose. First and foremost, it is meant to give people who are new to sobriety something they can turn to and read and not feel so alone. It is a labor of love in that it is a work I am creating that I really wish I would have had when I was new to sobriety. Also, it acts as a preface to my spiritual awakening. I'm sure I will also be writing some long-form nonfiction work about that at some point in my life. There is much more to go into with regard to what I have come to understand about this reality and this construct that we have found ourselves in and why, and I will. Stay tuned. Also in episode 24, I talked about how while writing my memoir, and a few weeks ago I was doing some writing, and in one particular instance, I was writing about withdrawal symptoms. I was getting really in-depth and in some really, gory details. Then it hit me. I realized that in that moment, even after nearly 7 years of sobriety, I was experiencing those old feelings again. The stomach cramps, the achy legs, the weakness, and that thick, snotty feeling in the back of my throat and sinuses. It was crazy. It really was. It was very mild, of course, but, as I said, it was like a tap on the shoulder from addiction saying, "Hey, buddy, you remember me?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I do." And screw you. I'm trying to keep it PG, guys. And I also wrote about this in my Substack in a post called A Mission Strengthened. Writing a memoir about my time in active addiction has been challenging. That's putting it nicely. It has caused me to revisit some times in my life that I never want to go through again. Please understand that I'm not saying it's as bad as the actual experience. It certainly isn't, but it has made it so that taking some breaks from writing the memoir have been necessary. I know that, once it's finished, reliving those times will be worth it because it's causing me to write from in the moment, not just from memory. It's kind of exciting because I know it is making this memoir more authentic than I had anticipated it would be. And I have always anticipated that it would be extremely authentic. So there's that. These breaks I am taking are not because dredging up these memories are putting me at risk of relapse or whatever. In fact, if anything at all, they're strengthening my resolve to remain sober. But they're also very emotionally and spiritually exhausting. It has also renewed and even strengthened my sympathy for those who are still struggling with active addiction. It's one of the hardest things a person will ever have to go through. I am fully aware that this is a condition, an affliction that is self-imposed, so please spare me the whole "they did it to themselves" speech, or how addiction is not a real mental disorder. It is. I know this because I know that some people are predisposed to become an addict while others are not. I've known people who did heroin and did not become addicted, while others did. Please note that I am not talking about the physical addiction. I'm referring to the mental addiction, the predisposition. I know I'm getting off subject, and I apologize for that, but I guess it does at least demonstrate how passionate I am about defending addicts. Anyway, so writing this memoir is taking me back in time, to say the least. I said in my previous post that while writing this, I actually felt like I was experiencing some of the withdrawal symptoms again. Yes, it has to be all in my head because it has been nearly 7 years since I got sober. These feelings didn't make me want to relapse, but they did remind me of how it feels when you're in active addiction and need your drug. In fact, they strengthened my resolve to stay sober by reminding me how that felt and how I never want to feel that way again. I can never go back to that life, if that's what you want to call it. It did instill an excitement in me about this memoir, though, in that writing while feeling these feelings made it very real and raw. It made it very in the moment and relatable. My intention for this work is to be a resource for people who are new to sobriety, something they can turn to and feel not so alone. I'm not only sharing stories that are painful, but are also some that are funny, and anything in between. This is something that I really wish I had when I was new to sobriety because it's a very lonely time, and sometimes you feel like you're all alone and the only person to have ever experienced this. Of course you're not, but it sure does feel that way. If my experiencing these symptoms all over again makes this work more authentic and therefore relatable, then so be it. That's what I'm going for. After all, as I said in my previous post, these symptoms were very mild, very brief, and clearly all in my head. If this memoir helps just one person who is new to sobriety to not relapse during those crucial first few months of sobriety, then it will all be well worth it. This will also be a great resource for the loved ones of addicts to help them understand all the hows and whys of addiction. I've had several days away from it now, and I'm about to start on it again. So this is on my mind, and I wanted to kind of capture this moment and share it. So I think I've got my clarifications in there as far as us being the architect and not the builder. We have to be very clear of what we want our lives to look like. But we also have to let go of the hows. We have to let go of everything. You have an idea of how you want your life to look, but don't micromanage God. In fact, that sounds like a very good title for a chapter in a book. Do not micromanage your higher power. You simply state what it is that you would like to happen in this lifetime, and you then imagine it. Really imagine it. You've got to smell it. You've got to taste it, touch it, feel it, the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair, all that. and stay in that vibration, stay in that feeling as much as you can. If you have to write it all out on an index card and keep it in your pocket and set an alarm on your phone to look at that index card every hour or 2 hours or whatever you feel is necessary, whatever you've got to do to keep yourself vibrating on that frequency, keep dialed into that radio station. And for God's sake, please be grateful. Be so grateful. Thankful. Thank you so much for this reality. Thank you so much for the fact that I was able to defeat addiction and then allowing me to share my story and be an example for others that they can do it too. And while it's the most lonely place you can ever find yourself, it sucks in every possible freaking way. It truly does. I know this. And anybody who has been through opioid addiction or, lots of types of addiction knows it's unbelievable in every single possible way. And we can't do it alone. We just can't. Addiction teaches us that humility that we need to then be true creators. It teaches us to understand this is out of my hands. I cannot do this. But here's what I can do. I can visualize a life of sobriety. I can be thankful for that. And I can begin taking steps for that to occur. You can visualize that life of sobriety and then take steps by doing what? Checking yourself into a rehab or a clinic to get on maintenance medicine. Ain't no shame here. If you want to take maintenance meds, take maintenance meds. If people at your NA meetings don't like it, screw them. This is not their road. Anybody who is on maintenance meds, I tell them, kind of keep that to yourself. Because some people at these NA meetings and stuff can be very snobby and think, well, you're not really sober if you're using Suboxone or whatever. And that's fine. That's whatever that's fine. If they think that, that's fine. Let them think it. It doesn't matter. Don't argue with them about it. Whatever. Like, oh, well, sorry you feel that way. You're not lying. You're not apologizing to them. You are sorry that they feel that way because that's a shitty way for them to be. But whatever. Again, not your problem. Getting off subject, of course, getting back to what I was saying. That's the thing that we take away from addiction. And of course, I know it's all in retrospect, but whatever. It teaches us to be creators of reality. It teaches us to visualize a life of sobriety, to get in the vibration of that, to really feel it and think, wow, I really want that life. I really wanted that experience. What do I got to do? Humble yourself and admit, I cannot do this. But here's what I want. I'm the architect. Here's my design. I want a life of sobriety, and I want to be in it. I want to be an inspiration to other people so that they can also get a life of sobriety for themselves. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to feel it in my soul. And here's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go and I'm going to check into a rehab or a clinic or whatever. Make that step. Put some skin in the game. Make the physical steps that you got to do to get there. Then, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, momentum. That generates an enormous amount of momentum in your life. Once you've generated all that momentum of going forward, you're shooting up out of the freaking, out of rock bottom like a freaking rocket. The momentum you've got building in your life just by virtue of getting sober is amazing. Ride that momentum, ride that wave, and go and create something else. Be like, okay, now that I've got this life of sobriety, shit, I want to do this. I want to experience that. I want to do this. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to learn a trade. Get your CDL. Go do something else. I don't know. Do not nail everything you got to that thing, because you may go and learn a trade and be in that trade for exactly 0 days. Because that just by virtue of doing that, it could have led you to someone else who has an amazing opportunity for you. But you would have never crossed paths with that person had you not done the other thing. You just don't know. The thing is, get to it. Take that first step. Do it. And I realize most people listening to this are already sober. It's like, yeah, man, I've already done that part. I know. But what did you learn from that? What did you learn from getting sober? That you can do it. So let's do it. Now we need to imagine the next step. The first thing we needed to imagine was a life of sobriety. Great. Here we are. And we have generated an enormous amount of momentum in our lives, which is even better. So what's next? What's next for your life? Do something amazing. Why not? Put it this way. Most of us would probably be dead from an overdose by now anyway, so screw it. If you fall on your face, big deal. Dave Matthews Band has a song, and I wish I could play it on here, but because of copyright stuff, I cannot. But anybody who's listening to this, please go look this song up. It's by Dave Matthews Band. The song is You Might Die Trying. Man, if that song doesn't give you chills, I don't know. Yes, You Might Die Trying by Dave Matthews Band. Please go listen to that song. It's not exactly death metal. I mean, it's Dave Matthews, but whatever. Really pay attention to the words. It's so true. You got to get moving. All right, loved ones. Did I miss anything in my outline? I usually do, but that's okay because that makes it so that I've got the next episode already. Yeah, already going. Anyway. So, yes, I did miss a little something. I was going to talk about a little bit about Nikola Tesla and how he said if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, because that's everything. Because there really is no there. You see the things that you see. You touch the things that you touch. You interact with things because you vibrate in a frequency range that it also does. We're living in the mind of the Creator. We're living in the mind of God. And it's like they did that, and please forgive me, but they did that one map of the universe where they scanned what they call the residual radiation mapping, whatever, from the Big Bang Theory, which I do not believe in the Big Bang Theory, but whatever. And the crazy thing is, if you take that photo or whatever and you overlay it of a photo of the neural network in the human brain, it's freakishly close. What I'm saying is the universe looks just like the neural network of a brain, like the universe, just one big brain, or at least from our perspective, it's big. So in other words, your brain may be an entire universe in itself. And this one that we find ourselves in is the Creator's. And the Creator has dreamed you up, created you in his mind, and is now living out experiences through you, through me. And we are given the free will and the ability to create, but we have to learn how to do it. So anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. Yes, anyway, I was getting on that because I was talking about the parts of my outline here that I missed. I was talking about Nikola Tesla, and if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And yeah, I mean, it's stuff that I have talked about before, and I'm certain I will talk about again. Loved ones, Kitty's mother passed away a few days ago. Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. The day I'm recording this is Saturday, April 27th, 2024. So depending upon when you listen to this, yeah. But anyway, keep Kitty and her siblings, just the whole family, in your thoughts and prayers. It's tough. It's really tough. Losing a parent, and I'm certain a lot of people have. I've lost a lot of friends. I mean, hello, I'm a heroin addict. I've certainly lost a lot of friends. But watching her go through this, it's a lot different losing a parent. And all I can do is just, it sucks because I'm a man, okay? I am a man. I like to fix things. If there's a problem, I'm like, well, that's cool. Let's fix it. Well, I can't fix this. All I can do is be there for her, and that's it. Just be there for her. So anyway, keep her in your thoughts and prayers. She's it's been very tough, but if anybody can get through this kind of thing, it's Kitty. She's an amazing woman. If you got some arguments, some issues going on with your family, let it go. Yeah, let it go. Give them a hug. Tell them I love you. We don't have to agree. And that's fine. I've been putting a lot of writing stuff on, little blurbs and little articles and stuff on Substack. I just posted a new one yesterday that I am especially proud of. It's about the Fermi's paradox. And yeah, all you space nerds or whatever, that was pretty good. Of course, I had to put the Matt twist on it, but that's okay. That's fine. So Substack, just if you look for Matt Stevens on Substack.com, you'll find me. I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Also, on my YouTube channel, Matt Stevens MSA, as in My Sober Addiction. It's Matt Stevens MSA. I'm putting some things on YouTube here and there. I think what I really want to do with it is do lives, but not yet. But I definitely need some subscribers. So even if you don't watch any of my videos, I would really appreciate it if you just give me some subscribers on there. That way I can then reach the audience that I really need to reach there. There's the whole algorithm thing. So help your man out real quick. Just go give me a quick subscribe. And that'll be it. Also, where you get your podcast, a rating and review would be amazing. I would so appreciate it. If you do have any show ideas, if you have anything you would like for me to touch on or anything for me to clarify, I realize I can be a scatterbrain and I can start talking about this and see a squirrel and shoot off into that direction. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, man. I thought you were just talking about this. And the worst part is I might not ever go back to it. So if I've done any of that and you're like, hey, Matt, you were talking about how you felt about this, and then you saw a freaking squirrel and you went over there. So, yeah. So if that happens, just tell me, hey, Matt, in episode blah, blah, at about this point, you were saying this, and then you freaking saw a squirrel and did that. So would you please pick that back up? I would be more than happy to do that. I owe it to you. Yeah. So, loved ones, I love you. I hope to have this out by tomorrow. Either way, you won't know, because until I release it, there it is. Yes, I love you. Talk to you soon. Talk to you directly.
There is a distance in the light.